What's up, everybody? Welcome to Waypoints Media Club, your one-stop shop for discussions on all things movies, video games, TV shows, but hopefully never books. Today is a more just one-on-one episode with someone I've done way too many podcasts with, the other half of the Orphan Gamers, Laren Jess. Laren, how are you today?
Hi, I'm so concerned about this podcast because it's just you and me.
The energy. Yes.
I would like to say a quick thank you to everyone at Waypoint for trusting Jordan and I to be alone on a podcast together.
They're gonna regret it real soon.
I'm sorry in advance.
Alright, today we are discussing episode 7 of Marvel's What If. What if Thor had grown up an only child? Laren, what are your thoughts?
This show is so bad. It's terrible. I'm so sorry. I know that, like, wow, I look really pale. Sorry. I know that, like, I want to like it so bad, but it's so, and I don't know if it's because of the pandemic or, like, what, but I hated it, and I think this episode is the one I've hated the most.
Yeah.
I feel like they're murdering their characters in this show. Like,
but to an extent, that's kind of the point for some of them.
That depiction of Captain Marvel sounds like what people that don't like that character because she's a woman write her as.
As just like too straight to business, ready to.
That she has no emotions, like all this kind of stuff. And that's gross. It's real gross. The way the women were written in this episode was really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Jane, who was never like goo goo gaga over Thor in the first Thor, like she obviously was aware he's very attractive, like she's not blind, but she wasn't like this weird bumbly flirty mess and like all that like.
I think what it was is, and this goes back to the other complaints I've had about these episodes, is like, you know, in Thor 1, any moment where Jane might have like been, oh my god, he's so hot, is just one quick second, but we get the rest of the movie to show she's an intelligent person. She is a very self-sufficient person, like all these other really, really good traits that make her a three-dimensional character. And because this episode's so short, we only get her being this like ditzy, oh my god, he's so hot and I forget how to do anything.
Okay, but my issue with that is by the premise of the show having one singular question, that's the only thing different, is in this universe, Thor was an only child. As an audience, we can assume that means everything else is the same. All that's different is Thor is an only child.
Yeah.
Which, I have a comment on that later, but the only difference is that Thor was an only child. Jane would be the same person. They don't need to do any work. She's established.
But
we all know
that's
her.
what I'm saying. I think it's because they're trying to rush the romance part, but we don't get a chance to actually see the fleshed out.
But they don't have to. You know already that Jane Foster is, you know, Jane Foster.
Yes.
You don't if this episode she was exactly the same, you wouldn't be like, well, why? You're like, no, I already know. I watched Thor trilogy. Like, yeah. I know who she is as a person. Like, you know, you don't need to. It's the same thing with like why they didn't need to explain who T'Challa was in last week's episode. We all know. Like, we've been told. It's not like with Tony giving us a lot more, it's because Tony being saved and all that obviously really does.
He was a very different character. That
will truly split, but with these ones where it's like, you know, like in the Doctor Strange episode, they did it really well. Rachel wasn't, is her name Rachel?
No, that's her real name, Rachel McAdams.
That's her real name. I am thinking Rachel from Batman and the fact that it's Rachel McAdams and decided that was the character's name. What is that character's name?
Christine?
Claire? Christine, that's
yeah,
right. You're right. It's Christine. Wow. Whoops. Sorry, Rachel McAdams.
Her name's Regina George, actually.
Oh God. Yeah. At least I called her by her real name.
Yeah.
Anyways. So yeah, it's like she was normal. She was doing everything. Like I was like, yeah, like he's going fucking crazy, but you're acting the way I expect you to.
Yeah.
Like, and I think across in the first episode, like Bradley Whitford's character and Howard Stark, I'm like, you're all acting the way I expect you to act. Same thing with Fury in all of these episodes is still Fury. You know, he just I don't know. And I think that's what bugs me is that it's like, but some characters they decide are inherently unintelligent, like last week, or completely man crazy, like Darcy and Jane were this week.
Darcy in the first Thor movie is not, she's not written as man crazy, but she's not written as like the smartest person in the group. But then we get WandaVision to show that like, oh no, she is, and we love her.
Yes, I would die for her. But like marrying Howard the Duck.
It's so I told you I found this episode fun, and I found the best way to explain my logic. I found this episode fun in the way that, like, I read a headcanon on Tumblr for 5 seconds, and I'm like, oh, that would be funny, right? Thor giving Peter Parker beer. Hilarious. Like, I have...
But you go, that's funny, but I don't need to see it. Like, I can imagine...
Basically, yeah. Like, seeing it fleshed out was fun in the moment, but, like, that's really my vibe on it. It's just like, this is silly fun.
Yeah. And it's, like, not good. Also, can I... permission to take the floor to go on to like a little bit of a rant here.
Go ahead.
The premise of this entire show is what if Thor was raised an only child? Now, here's my thing. If being raised an only child meant that he grew up into this, you're gonna tell me that around the time of Thor 1, before they're putting Odin into Odin sleep or whatever the fuck they're doing with him, that Odin never once was like, did that whole "but you're not the king yet" moment? Like, you're gonna tell me he blew up a planet having a party and Odin was like,
that's the thing. He didn't blow it up. The planet was destined to explode. It was a comet, he said, right?
I don't know. I also don't believe 90% of the things out of Thor's mouth. But regardless, they've like destroyed things. And like he's being...
Thor 1 is when Odin finally decides to teach him the lesson.
Yeah, I'm just saying that if Thor was raised an only child, I think that would happen sooner. I don't think... They just, like, decided Loki has a huge impact on Thor's childhood without... We don't have anything to base that on. All we know about their childhood from the movies is that one time Loki turned into a snake so that Thor would pick him up, and then he went, ah!
And he like, stabbed him.
They talked about that and stabs him. Because he doesn't fake his death or really try to, like, seriously betray him until the end of Thor 1. Like, are we saying that the only reason Thor in the MCU isn't a mess is because, like... Loki played some tricks on him? Because...
I think it's like this weird phenomenon of like he had a different way to channel his energy.
I don't know. I also... Here's my other thing with it. Correct me if I am wrong, but I don't think I am. In Thor 1, when Loki finds out he is adopted, Odin tells him his father never wanted him because he was a runt and he was cast out, right? That, like, the baby was not dropped there. He was put there on purpose. And that's why Odin took him.
I don't remember, to be completely honest.
I remember there being an entire scene of them telling Loki, and people can tell me that I'm wrong, but I'm 90% sure that this is right. I also don't know what to Google it to try and...
I would have to, like, look up the script and find that scene.
Yeah. I'm 90% sure that what it is he was cast, that the king didn't want him. And, so Odin took him in, knowing that he'd just be killed by frost giants. And in this, Loki, they're all excited to have the baby back. And Loki's, like, weird, but, like, grows up perfectly fine.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a few more changes in this universe than just the one.
Yeah. Like, I really thought when they were like, what if Thor was raised an only child? My assumption would be that I thought it was going to be Odin never found the baby. That in this universe, Loki doesn't exist. Like, Loki did freeze to death as a child, as an abandoned baby. Which maybe that's, I don't know. Does that make me a fucked up person that that's what I assumed?
I mean, no. You're not saying you would have wanted a baby to be abandoned.
No, and it's based in, I really thought it was that Jotunheim didn't want the kid back, and now I'm trying to Google it. I don't think Loki has as big an impact on Thor's childhood as we're trying to pretend.
I'm happy they called it raised an only child and not was, because then it's like, what the fuck happened to Hela?
Yeah.
But while you look that up, I mean, like, I can kind of see how not having Loki would kind of change this trajectory of your personality in a way. Especially, like...
I am right. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
but it came up right away. Loki is indeed a Frostshine who was taken into custody by Odin when the war between Asgard and the Frostshines of Jotunheim was over. Loki had been abandoned and left to die due to his small stature. So, like, what? Did Jotunheim was like, Odin just fucking ruined us in war, so I have to pretend I'm excited to have this kid again. And then you're going to tell me that that's not going to fuck the kid up in the exact same way?
Maybe they don't want to reveal their that like fucked up part of their culture to Odin.
Reveal that they abandoned
They're like, oh, the baby, yeah, of course.
Thank.
And they're like, fuck me. We're gonna have to build that crib again.
Like, Odin talks about it in the movie where he's like, if I had returned you to them, they would have killed you. Like, I'm very confused. Like, I like it better when I think of it as, fucking, they were like, fuck, we can't reveal to this piece of shit that, like, we did this on purpose.
Yeah.
That we wanted the baby to die. And what if he comes back and realizes, like...
And it's like, hey, where's that baby? And, like, he's, you know...
Fuck. Like, what? I don't know. So, like, I guess we have to keep him. Like...
Yeah.
It's just, I don't understand.
Was there any aspects at all of this episode that you enjoyed or liked or... could speak positively on? No?
No. I literally liked absolutely 0% of this episode.
I won't lie. When the montage of him trying to clean up before Frigga comes and he fixes the Leaning Tower of Pisa, that got a chuckle out of me. I don't know why. I watch these at like 8, 9 in the morning when I'm like half awake and just before work. So maybe I had like only 4 brain cells operating, which is still more than average for me. But like... when he fixed the Tower of Pisa, I got a chuckle out of that one. Everything good?
One is growling in my courtyard.
Someone's growling?
Going, ugh.
Sounds more like grunting, which is grosser.
Okay. Anyways. I don't know. Anyways, so, yeah, no. There was nothing, beginning to end. I got to see Frigga. That was nice.
Yeah, and him being fucking terrified of her was also I liked it. I was like, yeah, you be afraid of Frigga. We should all be afraid of Frigga.
We should all be afraid of Frigga.
I'm more afraid of Frigga than I am Odin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of aligned with that. Yeah, I didn't like any of it. I thought Maria fighting with Carol was weird. I thought that she was just gonna not give Carol a chance and just nuke it.
Which is that Shield's first answer to everything? Just nuke it?
Well, that was my other issue, is I was like, Coulson dies, and Maria Hill still thinks that the nukes are overload against Loki and the Chitauri attacking New York.
But in this, it's just Thor, they think he's gonna blow up the planet, but he's really just partying, and they're like, nuke him.
Yeah, but the problem is him partying could possibly blow up the planet.
That's the type of party I want to throw.
No, it's not. Anyways, But yeah, like that's why I'm just like I feel like that can't be your answer to everything. And I feel like from what we've seen of Fury, Fury is not the guy where that's the answer for everything.
No.
Um so yeah, I also just the only good thing that came out of this for me was so the MCU doesn't happen.
Yeah, I guess.
Like,
Basically, the whole MCU does not happen.
yeah,
I mean, or
because
Thanos sends a different person to try to get the stones on Earth.
who, Ronan? Thor's not going to come down for Ronan. I'm saying Thor would never become an Avenger because he never would have came
Yeah.
looking for Loki.
Which, how did you feel
So
about...
even if he sent somebody else.
Yeah. How did you feel about the end of the episode, where we get our first glimpse of Vision Ultron with the Infinity Stones?
Jordan, if they end this in a way I give a shit about, I will be shocked. I'm 90% sure that I'm going to hate watch the next two.
Okay. So, what would you want to see them do different in season 2 for you to actually start enjoying the show?
I know they won't do it, but they have to be longer. B, be aware of the fact that you're changing one thing. You get to change one thing if you want people to like anything to mean anything.
Well, I would say
change.
just explain the butterfly effect more, because like they hinted at how
exactly.
They kind of showed how Loki not being there changes Thor's personality and the way he sees things, but explain it more.
And if you're going, you have to do it with every character. You have to find a way to do it with every character. You have to find a way to explain why every character is like so different. If you're going to make so many of them so different.
Yeah.
Okay, the hiccups. Sorry.
You're good. I agree. I really think that next season, I hope the episodes are longer, so these ideas and the characters that have changed in them are more fleshed out. We get more explanation as to how it's happening. Because
it's also... Sorry.
I was going to say, on paper, I love all these premises.
I love the question. I don't like where it goes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is like the idea
out in such a good place. And then it's just gone. And you're like, okay, what is any... Like, my biggest pet peeve being, why the fuck would zombie Thanos still want all the Infinity Stones? Like, why is he still coming to Earth to get the Mind Stone?
Yeah, the zombie one wasn't clear on how much consciousness they still have. Because it almost made it look like they still have a goal, but they can only think about one thing at a time.
But it's also like, then wouldn't the other... How much is happening? There's a helicopter going overhead. Somebody is hammering something. Somebody just shut a door and it all happened at once. Sorry.
Oh my God. I hear it.
There we go. Like, wouldn't... I'm just saying, if Thanos remembers as complicated of a goal as I have to go to Earth because the Mind Stone is on Earth and Vision has it and I have to go find it, why would they not recognize people?
To be fair, I think he has to have gotten bitten once he got on Earth. He didn't become a zombie and then go to Earth.
He's standing there showing the gauntlet, which implies that, like, he still has this idea of he's going to kill all these people and do what? And I think it's Peter says it to Bruce that, like, sorry, my eye itches. That, like, all they want is to eat.
Yeah.
You're telling me that this entire time, none of them have seen the zombies want anything else but eat, so they still think that the zombies only want to eat? Like, I just, like... What?
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't understand. Cool. It feels like they wrote this show by going, I want this really cool shot of Killmonger on the throne of Wakanda. I want this really cool shot of, Captain Carter throwing down her shield. I want this really cool shot of zombie Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet in Wakanda. I want this shot of Doctor Strange, like, in a box. Like, whatever they are. And was like, okay, well, now we have to figure out how we can get all these cool moments in. And that's just not a good... It can't just be I visually want to see this moment, because that doesn't necessarily mean all the moments can be connected.
And I will say, like, I know most people thought the Captain Carter one was just fine and boring, but I feel like it made sense at least.
I feel bad for everything I said about that episode. I feel horrible for everything I said about in the Captain Carter episode about it just being fine, because if only I knew, if only I knew what was to come. And like fucking, I do it on the fucking. I remembered how excited.
One too. Yeah, I remember how excited you were for this show too. So I feel like that's why it stings.
I know. Oh God, I'm over it. And like, everybody's shitting on Shang-Chi on Twitter and being like, Shang-Chi's Marvel's first flop. No, it wasn't. Shang-Chi was great. What If is terrible.
Yeah, no. People thought it would flop, and then they were like, oh no, never mind.
Oh, there are still videos being made that are like, why Shang-Chi is actually Marvel's biggest flop. It's like, it's not. You want it to be, but
it's literally not.
The answer is, it's not. Hang on. I just want to see something, if you'll entertain me. I'm going to go to my letterbox.
Alrighty.
I want to see.
What, where you'd rank this?
No, what other people are ranking it. But I don't know if it'll be out yet. I have to include the fucking dots here, really? Boo, it's not on here yet.
They usually wait for the whole season to finish.
Yeah, and then they put them up, which is funny to me because they're 110% television shows and Letterboxd is just for film, but okay. Ow. I just want to, like, when I don't like something and I need to hear other people talk about why they don't like it to make sure I'm not, like, a little dumb. And every so often I'll, like, search What If on Twitter and see, like, a bunch of people being like, this is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at this point... What?
It has a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes. From whom's opinion?
Audiences, I guess.
No, the 95 is the critics and the 93 is the audience.
Really?
I can't believe people think this show is good.
Well, I mean, I remember
I'm really upset.
I remember, like, when the press got to see the first 3 episodes, they were high on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that the execution needs to be better. The episodes need to be longer so these ideas can be more fleshed out. And it's like, no one would complain if they're longer episodes. We would all be down for it. I understand that the show has a budget, but Disney has more money than God. It's just like...
Yeah, for real. Sorry, I'm looking at Google reviews, and all of the good ones are from, like...
4 weeks ago.
Yeah. Like 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and then all the 1 reviews are from, like, 2 days ago.
Yeah. I do want to see...
Like, this is terrible.
You know, at this point, it's like, 1, we're in deep. 2, it's like, whatever. It's just 2 more fucking episodes at this point. I just want to see how they connect things and wrap things up.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, that's been, like, my question. It isn't even, like, I'm so invested to see it finished. I'm just like, I just want to know the how. Like, how are they going to go about it?
I also think that they're too dependent on that. Not only are they going, hey, I want to see this moment. I think it's also they're like, how many Easter eggs can I pack in the background? Why were the Guardians of the Galaxy at that party?
Because it was a space party and they were invited.
But why would they go?
The Guardians feel like someone that won a party.
And what are the chances that Drax and Rocket would end up, and Nebula would all end up at the same party when they're not a team yet?
Well, I think that's the idea. Is like Thor's so popular, he's inviting everyone to gas. That part, I was just like, okay, fine, suspension. Like, there are some things that I'm just like, sure.
But they're trying to cram in Easter eggs. They're trying to go like, oh, what'll fans be excited to see? Oh, they'll love to hear Thor call Rocket a rabbit again. Let's do that. It's like, I don't give a shit about that unless everything else is okay. Like, you don't just get to put in things that are good and like, or that people are excited for and be like, now our show's good. No, you put in an Easter egg that we got to see a weird version of Nebula again. Awesome.
She wasn't that weird.
They're doing the weird breathy voice thing.
Maybe that's just how Karen, that could just be how Karen Gillian speaks into a microphone.
Nah.
Has she done voice acting before?
I don't know. But that's not how she talks.
No, but like some of them have shown that they, for some reason, speak very differently when it comes to voice acting.
No. Because she does it in the first Guardians movie too, the entire time.
Oh.
That weird breathy voice that is not hers. Andy does a really good impression of it in the Guardians of the Galaxy interview, where she just like she talks like this all the time, and it's really fucking weird.
My father's many things, but he is not a liar. Like that.
Literally. Like, and it's I don't like it. I don't like that one bit. Like, please stop doing that. She starts talking normally in the second one, and then it gets better from there. But it's like, why are we doing this weird breathy shit? I do not like this. Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I really dislike it. It's part of the reason I don't like the first Guardians movie.
She's not even in it that much.
The time she is, though, that is grating.
I'm sure there's someone out there that's into it.
Your vocal fry and whispering is just like very like.
Hey, how you doing, little mama? Let me whisper in your ear.
Stop it. Stop it.
But Nebula.
Ugh. I'm just saying that like there's a lot of things that I'm like, but why? But why would he be here? Like, why? Like, one of my big ones being like, okay, we've established now that Captain Marvel happened. Does she not know the Skrulls are there? Yeah. Or are they different Skrulls? And if they're different Skrulls, why aren't they freaking out?
To be fair, like, the Skrulls are a whole race, so she's not necessarily going to know all of them.
Well, even if she doesn't know them, they're now looking at it and seeing that her uniform may be different colors, but it's still the uniform she wore as a Kree. And like, wouldn't you be freaking out about the Kree coming after you? Like,
yeah.
If you guys are in hiding because the Kree are trying to eliminate your race, why are you at this party where there are other Kree?
You know, I think Thor's parties on different planets are a lot like my 21st, where you look at the people who somehow got in there, you're like, how did you get here? But I'm not going to ask questions.
Yes, but Jordan, that would be like if somebody came to your birthday party who was in witness protection.
To be honest, I don't know everyone's backstory.
Where you're like welcoming. No, it's not from like like who would catch them. It's from like your own personal, the Skrull standpoint going, do I continue to hide from Kree who are probably definitely going to be in this party and I might accidentally get murdered or lead them back to where they can murder more of my people? I stay here.
Yeah, I don't think that's the thing, is I don't think they're looking into every single thing.
But you established a world. I just want to rant to Victoria about how phase 1 through 3 does some really cool, why we're getting such good character stories now. Why we're getting such good character stories now is because phase 1 through 3 did a fuck ton of world building. They never have to do world building again. They're going to have to with the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, but that's just because
we'll get there when we get there.
We didn't own them originally. But everything else, like, we know the rules of magic generally. We know the rules of, like, God being alien shit things. Like, we know, like, the Eternals all have cosmic power. We know what that is. They've told us already. They don't have to sit and explain to us the entire intricacies of cosmic power. With WandaVision, they had already established Wanda is super powerful. It's tied to her emotions. This is where it came from. This is how she got it. This is her whole backstory. So then we just got character development. We didn't have to worry about explaining Wanda. We're done. She did it already. You guys have such a good opportunity, and you have such a good thing going where you can be like, we have this world established already. Now let's play with, like, what if I change this one thing?
Everything all right? The camera, the mic, we can't hear any of that.
Okay, as long as the mic can't hear any of it, because that is some colorful language coming from my neighbors.
Wonderful.
Colorful language. All right.
Well, on that note, thank you for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back next week for the second to last episode of Marvel's What If. So we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.